And myself, Hala Al-Hamalawi. Good afternoon
Hello.
to you, Shereen.
Good afternoon to you, Hala. And it is the Cairo International Convention and Exhibition Center, which is located near the bustling Cairo Central Business District. The center comprises three major buildings, convention halls, the banquet hall, and the exhibition center. It serves as a perfect venue for meetings, conferences, exhibitions, and special events. It also features 5 exhibition halls and offers a total exhibition space of 20,000 square meters. To be speaking about the exhibition and also the Cairo International Book Fair, we're joined with Mr. Mohamed Samy. He's the first Undersecretary for the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and also the Chairman and the CEO of the Egyptian Expo and Convention Authority, the EECA. Thank you very much for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you.
Inviting me.
Good afternoon to you, Mr. Samy. Now, we've been talking about tourism, the various aspects or the traditional aspects of tourism, but Egypt actually offers new type of tourism, that is the exhibition and conferences tourism. What's your take on that?
Well, I think it's a very interesting point to mention a certain figure here. The international norm says that for every dollar spent on an exhibition, $100 are spent in ancillary activities that's got nothing to do with the exhibition. So these are the international norm figures. So basically this means if somebody's coming and spending £1 here, he will be spending £100 in different things like transportation, like food, like hotels, so on and so forth. So it's important to realize that this industry requires a whole set of activities to be working and cooperating together in order to put Egypt on the map of the international conferences and fairs, which is something that we're slightly away from.
Yes.
And looking at this, place, the amazing place, and where it's hosting now the Cairo International Book Fair, how is it going now with the start of this, international book fair that has been developing year over year?
Well, this is actually the 48th round, and we're actually learning every round what needs to be done, what we need to avoid. So far, I think one of the things that we have succeeded in doing in this year is to accommodate larger number of people. So up until yesterday, last night, we had 1.75 million people coming. And that's a huge figure when you compare it to last year, when the total figure for the people who visited the fair in all the time was just 2 million or 2.5 million. So this means that there are more people coming, which is very, very important for us as far as culture is concerned. The second thing is the organization and the entrance. Despite the congestion that you see around, but entering the fair itself is quite smooth. And this came after the cooperation with different bodies within the government in order to facilitate the traffic, in order to facilitate the entrance and the security, and in order to facilitate the safety as well for each and every single person around here. I think this is a good taking that we need to look at. The third and last important thing are the number of exhibitors. I'm proud to say that this year is about 20% more as far as space is concerned. So this means more people to show their books and their products to the customers who want to come and learn more and more and buy more.
There has been growth also in the exhibitors.
Oh yes, last year we had 530 exhibitors. Now this year we have 670 exhibitors. The area last year was around 40,000 square meter. This year of 50,000 square meter.
Yes.
So this level of growth reflects the overall strategy of the government, if you know what I mean. That the government is really pushing for everybody to come and attend such kind of events in order to uplift the standard of knowledge and the standard of education of people. And you can see the cooperation between both ministries, the Ministry of Culture and the Ministry of Trade and Industry, which I represent, in facilitating all the small little things that used to take place before.
Yes. But Mr. Samy, as you mentioned, every year there are continuous efforts to attract not only visitors but also exhibitors. And this year we have French and Italian exhibitors as well. So tell me more about the efforts in order to attract more exhibitors, and what are the challenges that face you in this regard?
I believe in figures. Last year we had 22 countries. This year we have 35 countries. This is quite interesting because it reflects the confidence in the event itself and the confidence in the level of security and stability of the country. When you see people coming from different parts of the world, when you see different nationalities walking around, when you see a food corner that is dedicated for Asians and another food corner that is dedicated for other ethnic groups or other cultures, this means that more and more people are realizing that this fair is a true international fair. And we have to realize that this is actually one of the oldest fairs around the world, if not the oldest as far as books are concerned. The level of involvement of the international exhibitors reflects actually the confidence and the credibility of such a fair. And when we say, as I said earlier, it was 22 last year, and this year we have 35, this means something.
Yeah, it means a representation from other countries, exhibitors, and while we're here, we're looking at the enormous amount of visitors. It has been really busy to enter here, and the amount of people, maybe when you're speaking on the background, you'll find a lot of people walking around, and just one place from the entire exhibition.
Very true. I cannot actually hear myself. Of people and the crowd around me, but I feel very proud to see that, because the more I attract people here, the more this means a success to the show and definitely a revenue to the country.
Yes.
But the more I attract people here smoothly and calmly, the more this reflects the cooperation between the different entities within and the different bodies within the government. And this is actually something that we need to stress on. We're not a private sector here. This is a public sector. And more often than not, there is a notion that there is no normal cooperation to make these things as successful as it should be. But what we've been witnessing recently throughout the past year or two, that everybody is really cooperating to make such kind of events successful, even though it does not lie under their own patronage. But you see different ministries working together and trying to get this thing above the ground. And I see the visitors around me moving around very smoothly. This is obviously because of the efforts of different entities within the country.
You know, millions of visitors per day. To facilitate this needs a lot of effort.
Yeah. In the heart of Cairo,
yes.
But it's going very well, and I'm extremely grateful for the efforts of the people and the traffic and the other people who are just making everything very smooth.
Yes.
It's not perfect, I agree. There are definitely some pitfalls, but we're learning year after the other.
Okay. Mr. Samy, with the increase, you're talking numbers. You said you believe in figures. And you said we have increasing numbers of visitors as well as exhibitors. And I believe this requires also extra halls and more buildings. And I believe that the EECA is currently working on this issue, having new buildings in order to fulfill the capacity of all these visitors and exhibitors.
EECA represents Egypt Expo, stands for Egypt Expo and Convention Authority. This is actually an economic authority within the 53 authorities around the country. Our intention really is predominantly economic. Weighing this with the different aspects like cultural, like other aspects within the government is something that is very difficult. This requires infrastructure. And when you're talking about infrastructure, predominantly, as you've mentioned, you're talking about halls. Now, up until 2010, we had the different halls around you here in the Cairo Fairground. Now, these halls were knocked down in order to have a mega project being built on this particular piece of land. For various reasons, this has been postponed, and I believe that the government has another extremely promising agenda and direction for where the biggest fairground is going to be. Probably it's not going to be in a very, very congested area as this one. You probably realize that 20 years ago or 30 years ago when this fairground was established, the capacity and the traffic was not that congested. So it does make sense to sort of find a place where we can attract people, attract more and more people, and causing less and less problems. Yes, causing less and less problems.
Yes.
So are there plans maybe to have those type of exhibitions outside of Cairo, moving like to example 6th of October, New Cairo?
Well, there is currently a plan within the new administrative ministry to establish 500, the largest convention and exhibition authority in the world. Mm-hmm. It's going to be on 500 faddans, and I believe the design is going to be superb, really reflects the strength of the country and the progression that the country is currently going through. I believe that this is currently being established as we're speaking, and this is going to be something that is going to represent an icon for this country as far as exhibitions and conferences. So let's cross our fingers and have it done as early as possible in order to accommodate such kind of events in the proper setup and the proper infrastructure where it really deserves to be.
Okay. Mr. Samy, the book fair is not just a cultural event with all the seminars taking place, with all the visitors, with all the exhibitors as well. It actually puts Egypt on a certain map that is a cultural hub to attract people from all around the globe. Tell me about the efforts in order to attract not only Egyptian visitors or local visitors, but also international visitors as well.
Actually, this is a very interesting question because it again reflects the harmony between the different bodies in the country. One of the things that was done in order to make people and more people come here are the contacts with our representatives outside the country. I'm talking about the ministry, the diplomatic, the CD, the diplomatic corps in the different countries. I'm talking about the commercial attachés. I'm talking about the cultural attachés. So those people work in harmony together where they are based or where they are expatriated to invite more and more people and more bodies in this international world to come to the book fair. Now, not only the book fair that we're talking about, we also need to look at the Cairo International Fair, which is going to take place next month. And this is another thing that's been organized by one of the government bodies, which is the Ministry of Trade and Industry. Now, in order to make people come here, you need to reflect a number of things. You need to reflect the readiness as far as fairground and as far as facilities are concerned, hotels, so on and so forth. You need to reflect the security and stability of the country, which is currently taking place with the excellent measures that are being implemented. And you also need to reflect that you are really welcoming those people. So it's not just a matter of a fair, hey guys, come or don't come. You need to approach them with the right message, which is actually being done as we're speaking for the Cairo International Fair and had been done for this fair. And that's the reason why you're seeing this increasing number of people coming. 35 countries.
Yes, and as part of the increase in terms of visitors, like you mentioned, and other aspects, what was the main things or main elements that supported this level of increase or uplift, like you mentioned?
I think it was a number of things. It was not one thing. It was the fact that this fair is becoming a true icon in the international world. It is actually the biggest book fair in the world. Lots of question marks took place early 2011, 2012, how this fair is going to look like. But the efforts of the people in the Ministry of Culture and the efforts of the people in the Book Authority led to where we are at the moment. The people really continued working despite all the hurdles that they have faced. And they continued approaching the other ministries, like my ministry, for example, for support. So when you see the international publishers suffering from the prices, for example, immediately the people of the Ministry of Culture come to my office, and His Excellency, the chairman for the Cairo Fair, the book fair, came to my office and we said we need to give those people a discount. The same day, we issued a decree or a note that there is going to be a mega discount to the Book Authority so that they cascade this down to the exhibitors. And this happens. So it's important to have those ministries working together, which is actually...
The harmony is obvious because you are actually speaking about the book fair.
Definitely.
And you're from the Ministry of Tourism.
Definitely. I really salute them for the excellent effort that they have done, ya Mahmoud. You cannot imagine how tough this was in the past days, especially after the FX thing that happened a month or two before the fair. They have really suffered, but they have done a great job, and I really salute them on that.
Mr. Samy, we spoke about the efforts in order to attract more visitors and exhibitors, and how this international book fair is a step on a long road to put Egypt back on the cultural hub. And you spoke about also coordination efforts with the Ministry of Culture and other government bodies. What about the Ministry of Tourism? I mean, if we're thinking about new ideas, why can't we coordinate with the Ministry of Tourism and make this event part of the touristic schedule of tourists who come to Cairo during this time of the year?
Let me tell you something. The long way starts with a single step. I think what we've seen this year, the harmony between both ministries, including also the Ministry of Interior, and what you see as far as security and as far as smooth operation, as far as traffic is concerned, is something that has been done in an excellent manner this year. I'm pretty sure that this is going to continue as far as Ministry of Tourism next year, and I'm pretty sure that when the time, before the time comes, we will sit together and we say, hey guys, when the thing is excellent, when we talk together that closely and we share together the same team in order to make this fair succeed, I'm pretty sure that the Ministry of Tourism are extremely successful in that. And I'm pretty sure that the Ministry of Culture Affairs would definitely involve them, because they realize that it is very important. I'm pretty sure that the Ministry of Tourism would not save an effort in order to make this fair as successful as it should be. And with this excellent step that we took this year, this very close harmony, this very close teamwork, I'm pretty sure that this is going to be extended next year as well.
Hopefully.
If we move to the Egyptian Expo and Convention Authority, so what would be, the main objectives of this authority?
This authority is actually established in 1956, in one of the most difficult years that this country has faced. But nonetheless, the late President Nasser decided that he's going to establish a body that is going to be responsible for all the export activities and the development of the internal and external trade for the country, or of the country. Now, ever since 1956, so this is actually 60 years now, 50 years now.
Yes.
It is 60 years.
It is
60 years. 60 years, yeah. Ever since 1956, the body has been promoting the Egyptian exports doing the following manner. First, we have fairs and exhibitions that we conduct internally here. Second, we have exhibitions that we conduct outside internationally, at least 60 or 70 every year. And we invite the export councils for the different industries to participate. And the government, represented in Ekka, is responsible for giving some sort of support to those exhibitions, financial support, in order for them to be represented in the most perfect manner, right? As far as space, as far as decoration, as far as travel, so on and so forth. So that's another thing that the Ekka does. The third thing that Ekka does is that we invite what we call buyers' missions. Like, for example, the fair that is currently taking place in the Cairo International Convention Center. We invited 200 people from different parts of the world to come and see the Egyptian products that are being displayed. This has been done by Ekka, obviously under the patronage of His Excellency, the Minister of Trade and Industry, Engineer Tarek Kabil. The fourth thing that Ekka does is that it orchestrates what we call B2B missions. We take Egyptian businessmen and Egyptian manufacturers, and we work with the commercial attachés in the other countries, Egyptian commercial attachés, and they set meetings with their counterpartners. And we take the Egyptian businessmen at the expense of the government to make them meet their counterpartners in the international world and the other countries. So these are roles that are done by a governmental body that is working in an economic manner. So I do not take anybody who wants to go. No, we study that and we say, why do we take this export council and why do we take the other one? Who gets the priority and based on which criteria? And these criteria obviously has been set by His Excellency the Prime Minister. So we're responsible for implementing that and safeguarding that.
With all these efforts and all this coordination and everything, tell me a little bit about the challenges or difficulties that you face in order to make this a success.
Well, the challenge is what makes everybody thrive, and increases the adrenaline level, and makes you sort of more and more
determined.
Oh yeah, absolutely determined. That's the word. I think it's the thing that has faced this particular body, that the main infrastructure on the fairground has been knocked down, and what you're trying to do now is that you're trying to have the same activity with very, very little resources. The other challenge, which is the fire that took place in the Cairo International Center in March 2015, it's important to put this thing intact, because you cannot have a country like Egypt with 100 million people, 30 million people capital, not having a proper convention center.
It's true.
But nonetheless, we try to sort of erect a small part in order to accommodate some other things, but Egypt deserves much more than that. The third challenge is actually the changes that has taken place within the Egypt Expo and Convention Authority. It has actually faced changes in the management throughout the past 6 years that did not create the perfect stability within the body, and this is not ideal. But what we're currently doing now is that the government has decided that it's going to pay somebody and put somebody in place, and then look at the P&L, the profit and loss. Look at how successful the operation is going, and that's the way the government is advocating at the moment. So the stability in the management is very good, and it's extremely important for the team, and it's the team that does everything.
Yes, Mohamed Samy, the first Undersecretary for the Ministry of Trade and Industry, would like to thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you
for being here.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure.
Thank you very much, sir.
It's an honor to be with Nile TV.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take a short break, then we'll be right back. Stay with us.